Assalamu alaikum. Today our topic is urethra. Urethra is a part, it's an opening from where we have the maturation reflex and we pass urine or we urinate. So urethra is divided into two parts. Urethra is the posterior urethra and the anterior urethra. Before that, you need to know there is different anatomy of the male urethra and the female urethra. We are going to discuss male urethra in detail. Female urethra is written very short in the books, and it's not oftenly asked in the exams, but male urethra is very important. Female urethra you are going to study by yourself. So mainly we are discussing male urethra. It's divided into posterior urethra and the anterior urethra. Urethra is almost 10 to 20 centimeter long. It's not only the anterior or outside opening that is urethra. Urethra is all the way coming inside, so it is 10 to 20 centimeter long, and it extends from the internal urethral orifice to the external urethral orifice. From where we urinate is the external urethral orifice, and urethra is extending from the internal urethral orifice to the external urethral orifice. So as we discussed that it is divided into posterior and anterior urethra. First we see the posterior urethra. In that 10 to 20 centimeter long posterior urethra is 4 centimeter long. It lies in the pelvis proximal to the corpus spongiosum. As males have the reproductive organ known as penile gland, so the penis have 3 types of muscles, and it is covered by 3 types of the muscles. If we see the model here, we see that it is the this is the bulbospongiosus muscle. After the bulbospongiosus, we have the corpus spongiosum muscle, and then we have the corpus cavernosum, this blue one. So penis is surrounded by the bulbospongiosus, corpus spongiosum, and corpus cavernosum. Now this posterior urethra is lying to the proximal of this corpus spongiosum, not in the corpus spongiosum, but it is lying proximal to the corpus spongiosum. And this posterior urethra is divided into 3 parts. One is known as preprostatic urethra, then we have the prostatic urethra, then we have the membranous urethra. So there are 3 segments in which posterior urethra is divided: preprostatic, prostatic, and membranous. We are going to study them in detail. You can see the diagram here. So all the parts of urethra extend like this, like a pipe. So first we will have the green one, preprostatic, then comes the prostate gland. So preprostatic lies above the prostate gland, while the prostatic segment will lie within the substance of the prostate, and membranous segment of the posterior urethra will lie below the prostate, and after the membranous segment there is slightly tilt, and then we have the 2 parts of anterior urethra. Anterior urethra have 2 parts. This one is known as bulbar part, because it is covered by bulbospongiosus muscle, which was this one, bulbospongiosus muscle. And then we have the penile or pendulous component, that will be this penile gland, so that will be the penile component. So anterior urethra have 2 parts, bulbar urethral component and penile pendulous component. And anterior urethra is 16 centimeter long, so posterior urethra is the smaller one, and anterior urethra occupies the larger part, which is 16 centimeter long, and it lies within the perineum and the pelvis, and it is surrounded by corpus spongiosum. We discussed that the posterior urethra lies proximal to the corpus spongiosum, but the anterior urethra itself lies within the corpus spongiosum. So urethra is surrounded by this corpus spongiosum muscle, which is coming all the way down to the penile gland, right? Now we will discuss all these 3 parts in the details. This topic is a bit boring, but you have to bear with it because it's very important regarding the examination point of view. So if we transversely dissect the urethra, we get the transverse section of the urethra. How will all parts look like? So first of all, we will have the preprostatic part. Preprostatic part is stellate in shape, and it will look like this stellate. And then prostatic part will be like crescent, and it will be crescentric in shape. Membranous part is again like the preprostatic part and is stellate in shape, while the anterior urethra, bulbar and penile, both are in transverse shape. So Transverse shape is for the anterior urethra and pre and membranous have stellate, while the prostatic have the crescenteric shape. Then comes the details of the all parts of posterior urethra. First is the pre-prostatic part. So pre-prostatic part is the part which lies within the prostate. Here you can see in the bladder we have this prostate and the renal fascia. So the part which is lying above the prostate will be the pre-prostatic part, and its length will be only 1 to 1.5 centimeter. It extends from the neck of the bladder to the verimentonum. So here you can see it's the apex, it's the base, and this is the neck of the bladder. And this is prostate. So just above the prostate it starts, so it extends from the neck of the bladder to the verimentonum. What is verimentonum? Verimentonum is an elevation which is present in the superior aspect of the prostate. If you can see here, this is the prostate and this is the internal section of the prostate. So in the superior aspect of the prostate there is an elevation which is known as verimentonum, and this pre-prostatic part is extending from the neck of the bladder to the verimentonum. Now these posterior urethra all parts acts as an urethral sphincter mechanism. We are going to study in detail what is urethral sphincter mechanism. So that contraction of the pre-prostatic urethra acts as an urethral sphincter mechanism. First of all, we need to see what is proximal urethral sphincter mechanism, then we will see the detail here. So what happens that we have studied in the neck of the bladder there are smooth muscles that act like a collar. Apart from these collar-like smooth muscles, there are distinct other smooth muscles which are independent, not coming from the neck of the bladder and comes from in the prostate. So that distinct smooth muscle bundles surround the neck of bladder. Other than the muscles of neck of bladder, there are other smooth muscles which will surround the neck of bladder and the pre-prostatic urethra. And they will be arranged as circular column, and after arranging the circular column here, they will form a sphincter. That will be known as the proximal urethral sphincter, and that will act as a proximal urethral sphincter mechanism. And how it acts? That sphincter will be innervated by adrenergic sympathetic innervations. Adrenergic innervations are also known as the sympathetic fibers, while cholinergic are also known as the parasympathetic fibers. We have discussed in the urinary bladder lecture that parasympathetic is a state of relaxed state when we feel like maturation reflex or urinating, but sympathetic is an activity of fight and flight, and in that activity of fight and flight person gave orders to the brain not to urinate, and adrenergic innervations become active. So this sphincter is having only those emergency sympathetic innervations and no cholinergic innervations, and it will act as a urethral sphincter mechanism. How? It will prevent all the parasympathetic fibers and only activate the sympathetic fibers and prevent the flow of ejaculation into the through the proximal urethra into the bladder. What happens if this urethral sphincter remains open? When the person will ejaculate the semen or the sperms, that flow will automatically go through that urethral sphincter into the bladder. But what happens, that urethral sphincter automatically closes because that is the sympathetic activity, that is the fight or flight condition. So urethral sphincter will become contracted, and those ejaculation will not be able to go into the bladder, and that will come forward and comes to the anterior urethra, and then it will be ejaculated.